Police say an inmate at this Indiana State Prison stabbed two guards, killing one of them. Officers say it happened this afternoon.
Of inmates at the Miami Correctional Facility tell CBS 4 they're frustrated. They claim the State Department of Corrections isn't keeping their loved ones safe from COVID-19.
Indiana is home to several notorious correctional facilities, each housing different levels of inmates. These institutions have become infamous for their security measures, violent incidents, and high-profile prisoners. Despite their reputations, many of these prisons also focus on rehabilitation, offering educational programs and vocational training to help inmates reintegrate into society upon release. This balance of correction and reform is central to Indiana's approach to the criminal justice system. Below, we explore some of the most dangerous and notable prisons in Indiana.
At the federal prison in Terre Haute this morning, 50-year-old Anthony Owls was unresponsive, I should say, in his cell just before 12:30 this morning, according to the Terre Haute Tribune-Star. Prison staff tried to resuscitate Owls and took him to the local hospital where he died. Officials say that there was no public danger during that incident. Owls had completed about a year and a half of a 22-year sentence for Hobbs Act and gun offenses.
This federal prison is home to Duro's inmates alongside male offenders convicted of serious federal crimes. Classified as a high-security facility, it also contains a few minimum security prison camps for lesser offenders. Known for housing some of the country's most dangerous individuals, including those on waiting for deletion, it has become infamous for carrying out federal deliriums. One of the most notable conducted here was that of drug kingpin Juan Raul Garza in 2001, who was sentenced for multiple deletions and drug trafficking.
Now more than a dozen employees of the Indiana State Prison System are being sued for $20 million.
Largely for what they didn't do. The suit stems from inmates at the state prison in Michigan City back in 2021.
Say an inmate at this Indiana State Prison stabbed two guards, one of them. Officers say it happened this afternoon at the facility in Michigan City. The guards were in a common area when they were attacked. The survivor.
Well, the Indiana State Prison in Michigan City is slated to close down in the coming years. And we know this prison was built in 1860. That's the year Abraham Lincoln was elected president.
This maximum security prison, designed for adult male offenders, also includes some minimum security housing units. It gained notoriety in 1933 when infamous gangster John Dillinger was housed here before being granted parole. Shortly after his release, Dillinger smuggled weapons back into the prison, enabling a daring escape for 10 of his fellow inmates. This brazen breakout added to Dillinger's legend and further highlighted the prison's historical significance.
Well, demolition is finally underway on the old women's prison on the Near East Side of Indianapolis.
As CBS 4's Russ McQuaid reports, the future of that site still remains unclear tonight.
A baby craves the touch of its mother's skin. Encouraging the mother-baby bond helps reduce crying and helps with breastfeeding. It's so important, in fact, Indiana lets some mothers who've lost all other privileges hold on to that one.
Opened in 1873, the Indiana Women's Prison holds the distinction of being the first adult female correctional facility in the United States. It has played a critical role in housing female inmates for over a century and remains the only facility in Indiana that houses female death row prisoners. Beyond its historical significance, IWP is known for holding some of the state's most infamous inmates. One well-known prisoner is Sarah Jo Pender, who was convicted of a double homicide in 2002. After escaping from the Rockville Correctional Facility in 2008, Sarah evaded authorities for over 4 months before being recaptured and sent to IWP, where she spent nearly 6 years in solitary confinement as a result of her escape. Her case drew national attention and was even featured on shows like America's Most Wanted, highlighting the challenges of housing high-profile inmates in female correctional facilities.
A worker in the women's prison in Park County faces charges. Police arrested Michael Wilkie at the Rockville Correctional Facility. He worked as head of the recreation department. He's charged with official misconduct for allegedly smuggling makeup into the prison.
This prison, now the Rockville Correctional Facility, was once the site of the Rockville Air Force Station before it was transformed into a medium security facility for adult women. It currently houses inmates with varying security levels, including those with high-risk profiles. As one of Indiana's key institutions for female offenders, Rockville provides a range of services focused on rehabilitation, including substance abuse programs, education, and vocational training to support reintegration into society.
Well, Indiana State Police say they suspect foul play of a Miami County inmate. Troopers tell us the prison staff found Matthew Koch unresponsive in his cell Sunday morning.
Relatives of inmates at the Miami Correctional Facility tell CBS 4 they're frustrated. They claim the State Department of Corrections isn't keeping their loved ones safe from COVID-19. Now, two people we spoke to say IDOC has moved inmates from the main facility into the gym for quarantine, and that inmates with COVID-19 are being placed with others who tested negative but were exposed.
Indiana State Police are investigating the death of an inmate at the Miami Correctional Facility. ISP detectives were contacted by state prison leaders just before 2 this morning. The inmate was identified as 23-year-old David Eggert.
This prison stands as one of the largest facilities for male inmates in Indiana, notorious for its violent incidents and high security environment. The prison has a long history of housing inmates with serious offenses, including those convicted of drug-related crimes, particularly drug use and distribution. Given the rise in drug offenses in the state, a significant number of prisoners here have been arrested for their involvement in the drug trade, making the facility a hub for tackling Indiana's drug crisis. The prison's reputation for violence was cemented in 2002 when an inmate, Angel Oquendo, tragically passed while being restrained by prison officers during a fight. The incident drew attention to the harsh conditions and the frequent confrontations between inmates and correctional officers. The notorious violence and overcrowding remain ongoing issues for the institution. These dynamics make the prison a critical point of focus in Indiana's criminal justice system as it works to address both the rehabilitation and security needs of a diverse inmate population. Indiana's prison system is a complex network of facilities that range from high-security penitentiaries for the state's most dangerous offenders to medium-security prisons that emphasize rehabilitation and skill development. While these institutions, such as the United States Penitentiary in Terre Haute and Indiana State Prison in Michigan City, are infamous for their harsh conditions and violent histories, they also play a crucial role in reforming inmates through education and vocational programs. Each of these prisons contributes to both the punitive and rehabilitative aspects of the criminal justice system, showcasing Indiana's multifaceted approach to incarceration.